You hear that, guys? That's the sound of the Russian money printer warming up. Is Russia going to have to start printing rubles in order to keep its war machine alive? We are going to break it down right now. I am Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It is November 3rd, 2022. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. Okay, when we look at the tactical map, there's actually literally no changes to the front line. Probably as good a sign as any that this Russian efforts to push and take territory are just sort of very, very anemic and don't really have any staying power. But the real interesting thing is what we've been seeing on social media. More and more, we've seen very angry, very frustrated Russian soldiers speaking out about the fact that their promised pay seemingly doesn't show up. Here's one example of a soldier who calls home and says that newly mobilized soldiers are getting about only $30 to $60 per month instead of the promised $3,000 a month. It's all in Russian, so I don't think there's like a ton of value here for us doing anything, right? But it's from War Translated. And yeah, these soldiers are like pissed. Understandably. You can also see here, this is newly mobilized soldiers who are not receiving their promised pay, and they begin to riot. And in any sort of society, when you have your military members, you can see they're lighting some things on fire, burning things. They are pissed at the government. In any society, when you have your soldiers angry, that they, especially about issues like pay, and not because soldiers are greedy, but because their families have to eat, and because back home their families have to have a place to live, and heat in the winter. These things, well, they are essential to a soldier's morale. And when the soldiers believe that their government is hostile to them, well, the government has a problem because there are soldiers. There's no one else you can call to go and discipline them. You hope that portions of your military are willing to enforce the law or discipline on these other troops, but more likely than not, you'll actually have large numbers of troops sympathetic to the military's cause, and there's no one else you can pick up the phone to call when your military is out for blood. But what's also significant is when we look at the actual math behind this, we realize that this isn't just viral videos, that financial experts are saying that the Kremlin may face a budget deficit that will drain Moscow's reserves to their lowest level in years. This is a combination of the fact that their energy revenue has been decreasing quite a bit, due in part to sanctions and in part because Putin's efforts to skyrocket the cost of energy haven't really been as successful as he's hoped. Sanctions, of course, and the huge cost of Russian military mobilization. They expect in the next 6 months this to eat through between $15 and $30 billion of Russia's reserves. And that is a huge, huge number. And remember, that's just in 6 months. It doesn't even include long-term commitment to veterans payments, mobilization costs like moving people around, training them, etc. One estimate was that a 400 soldier volunteer battalion cost Russia at least 1.2 million USD per month. And that's excluding the enlistment bonuses and special payments because Russia doesn't seem to be paying those. But what's also interesting is that a lot of people are very frustrated. And it sounds like Russia really is not interested in paying what they promised. One official found herself recorded yelling at mobilized men that she actually never promised them $5,000 for mobilization. And another said that they were promised $2,000 a month, but have not received it. And actually, this is families of mobilized men who have publicly complained to the governor of their oblast. This is, and even one social media footage showed a physical fight between contract servicemen and mobilized men, right? But obviously, because well, they are almost certainly getting vastly different compensation schemes. Now, what's also going to be an issue for Russia is that they're now resorting to purchasing military hardware from other countries. And as you guys may know, when, say, a country like Russia wants to purchase, let's say, artillery shells from North Korea is going to want those probably in Chinese yuan. And Russia can't buy them with rubles. It has to take its rubles, sell them to someone in exchange for yuan. Once you've done that, then you take that yuan and you purchase North Korean or North Korean military equipment. The issue is that how much yuan your rubles can buy is governed by the exchange rate. And this is sort of the problem that Russia is boxing itself into. It has to pay large ruble denominations to its soldiers per the contract, or else they're going to lose their minds. And it needs to be able to purchase weapons from North Korea and Iran using rubles. And it's making less money than ever on its energy sales, its number one source of government revenues. So given all those factors combining, what are you going to end up with? Well, the answer is that Uncle Vlad is going to have to turn on his money printer, right? If he inflates the ruble, reduces its value, you're going to see that these 300,000 rubles, suddenly the government's able to pay it. The catch will be that it'll probably be about half of its value in USD. And of course, you can also very temporarily take those rubles and purchase artillery shells and drones from your allies. This all sounds like a fine plan until you realize that you've deflated the ruble to the point where the next time you want to purchase North Korean artillery shells, the exchange rate means you're going to have to fork up even more rubles. And when you sign the next generation of conscripts, 300,000 rubles will look like peanuts to them. They're going to demand 1 million. And then you'll have to deflate your currency even more. This is how a hyperinflation crisis happens. And Russia may be setting itself up for exactly that. Anyway, guys, that is all I had for you for today. Of course, be sure to subscribe and be sure to, if you want access to the uncensored combat videos, the kind that YouTube won't let me show you anymore, I do all those breakdowns on my Patreon. Thanks so much to my Lieutenant tier patrons. I'll see you all in the next one.